looks like, and I like it. For the sake of learning, I'm just gonna go ahead and shoot this video. Uh, I'll just be a floating head. I ain't gonna lie to you, slime. Let's do it. Planet of the Apes is garbage, trash, doo-doo water, trash, really bad, not good, trash. If you genuinely thought this film was a good entry to the Planet of the Apes series, I have to disagree with you heavily. Trash. Boop, 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 boop. One of the main things that I have a problem with as far as this film goes is just the fact that it's a very weak entry in the overall Planet of the Apes films. I do fully believe, as a standalone, this movie by itself, I think it stands just fine. I think if you've never watched Planet of the Apes at all, you could watch this movie and like it. You could literally have no prior knowledge of the film, and honestly, I think this film would genuinely be better. It would have the mystery of what happened in the previous films, because they, of course, the film makes references to the previous Planet of the Apes films, and honestly, it's hard to say, I genuinely don't like this film so much as I don't like this film for what it is as far as the entire trilogy of Planet of the Apes. I'm going to compare our new protagonist, Noah, to our previous protagonist, Caesar. Now, obviously, there's a transition between, the last guy and the new guy, and how we have to, acclimate to the new storytelling. Before I make these comparisons, I'm just going to state why I believe it's a weak movie. Standalone film does fine, but for the Planet of the Apes series, it's just like, why? Let's go ahead and do some house cleaning, and let's start at why the film works. It has a simple story to follow, ABC plot. By itself, it has beginning, middle, and end. It's pretty generic and basic to the point where it's kind of painful, but like I said, for the average viewer, it's very easy to follow. I would definitely say it has decent character development. I wouldn't say overall for the film, because not too many characters have time to develop. One of my main problems with Noah is one of the many reasons why Phil Minto highlights how a protagonist can be weak, and that's because he takes a very passive role. But I'm going to get into that whenever I'm going to talk about the negatives of the film. The CGI is, of course, phenomenal. You're looking at CGI apes, like I outlined in my previous video, Mad Max Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. Go watch that video if you haven't. No, seriously, go watch it. Like, go now. Like, stop this video, go watch it. You did it? All right, sweet. The CGI here, it works, of course. The film is a Planet of the Apes film, and they've knocked it out of the park once again, because you're looking at CGI apes. Your suspension of disbelief quickly goes away because they move very ape-like. I remember the cast going to 6 weeks of ape school, I think they called it, and that's just where they use like prosthetics and learn how to move like apes and whatnot. And that brings me into one thing that I just found very, very weird. Andy Serkis is not in this film. I get it, he was Caesar, so of course he can't necessarily transition over, but like he can, because it's CGI'd apes, and Andy Serkis is just such a phenomenal CGI actor. I mean, he's like basically the godfather of CGI mocap. He could have easily played, some type of side character, side villain, lackey, something. Like, Andy Serkis is a gem, and maybe he was out of the range of the budget. Andy Serkis is always a win. Andy Serkis is always a win. Andy Serkis is always a win. That is the end of the positives. I guess I could say one more thing. The cast here all acted their hearts out. There was no real bad performances, no bad acting, even on the humans' part. But that's where my praises for this film goes away. So, the bad. Our new protagonist, Noah. Yeah, He's a protagonist whom I hate. I do understand that he's not Caesar. It's very clear, very evident. Him and Caesar are two very different characters. Caesar was the one that revolutionized apes as a whole. He led them into a new echelon of enlightenment. You know, apes don't kill apes, and all this other good stuff. His influence is felt hundreds of years in the future. This takes place hundreds of years in the future, well after city buildings are covered in vegetation and there is no apocalypse. This is just a whole new world now. My main problem is Noah he has basically a nickname of Clever Ape that is given to by the main antagonist. He's more cunning, but that cunning doesn't really show like at all. It really only shines like in two parts, and that's at the end of the film whenever he's fighting the main antagonist henchman, basically his general, and the main antagonist himself. But before that, he's just losing every single fight. And I do understand. I 100% understand. This is a new character. He's clearly not strong. He doesn't even look like a swole ape. Like you look at all the other apes, they're all swole, and he's like just a regular chimp. All of his fights he loses, like all of them. There's not one fight that he wins, because to actually fight, you have to use your fists, a weapon, some type of physical contact, something. I understand fights can be won without even touching your opponent, but like that's not a fight. You just defeated them. It wasn't a fight. You just defeated them. If that makes sense. It does. So at first he's in conflict with this gorilla, and he's saying in the name of Caesar or something in that vein. And we all know Caesar's good, so like every time he says in the name of Caesar, it's all like, wait, what? Like Caesar literally said, apes no kill apes, and he's quite literally killing other apes and capturing them and all that. Throughout the film, this gorilla he's literally hunting Noah. Not necessarily Noah himself, but he's hunting a human that we call Nova. She says her name at some point, but the actress, the actress did a fine performance, but it wasn't nothing groundbreaking. It was just a performance, and yeah, this is her. Yeah. So, if you need a mental reference, there you go. But basically, yeah, he's chasing this human because certain humans have certain intelligences, even though the virus from the previous movies have made humans basically apes, and then the apes basically into humans. There's a subset of humans that didn't catch the virus, and our new main villain is trying to catch those humans because he's either trying to kill them or enslave them. And he's fully subscribed to humans are bad. If it's in humans' nature just to be greedy and steal and all that other stuff. But I say all that just to kind of lay the groundwork for Noah losing all of his fights. Of course, he loses the first fight whenever his home gets invaded. And it probably gets invaded because Nova was there. That's probably what led the evil apes, I guess you can call them. That's probably what led the evil apes to his tribe. Of course, our protagonist has to go through some type of woes. That's how we, characterize with them and start to humanize them in our head, start to basically just build up rapport with them. It makes sense, for him to lose. He loses his father, the gorilla fight. The gorilla 1v2 is him and his father. They're regular chimps. He's a gorilla with a shock stick. So, yeah, Noah loses his dad, falls off a tower, passes out. And it's like, okay, first fight lost, cool, yada yada, whatever. Noah goes on his merry way. He's trying to basically look for the remainder of his family. He also notices that same human following him, which is the same human that likely got his town destroyed, but he doesn't really know that. Noah encounters an orangutan. The orangutan is like an original believer of Caesar, and honestly, I think this orangutan was like one of the more stronger characters of the film. He's got an insignia around his neck of like the old window that Caesar's house that he grew up in whenever James Franco was raising him. This orangutan starts to teach Noah about like Caesar's teachings and Caesar's way of life and all that good stuff. And they see him as basically Monkey Jesus. Yeah, he's basically a mentor for him. You don't build up too much rapport, and I say that because he dies like very soon. He probably only got like a solid 20 minutes of screen time. Evil apes, they're looking for Nova because Nova is intelligent. Us as the audience don't fully know that yet, but it's pretty implied, especially with the mentor, the orangutan, telling Noah that, oh yeah, she's smarter than the orangutan. They come upon like a pond of animals, and humans literally walk up like they're wild animals, start drinking from the pond, and then the evil apes turn up and they're trying to capture the humans, and they see Noah, the orangutan, and Nova, and he's like, oh, that's the girl that we're here for. Capture her. Chasing ensues. I can't say a fight because everybody runs. So chasing ensues. Nova stands up and yells Noah, and then it's like supposed to be a surprise. He grabs her. They get away for a time. Tells the orangutan, "Yeah, bro, this human just spoke. I'm not even joking. The human talked." The orangutan's like, oh man, you probably just heard her yell, and then Nova just speaks, and then they're all like, what? And it kind of got spoiled in the trailers, but whatever. Keep traveling, so eventually they come upon this bridge. It's a bridge clearly built by apes. It gets entrapped by the evil gorillas. The evil gorillas, like, they knew they were gonna go, then they start charging in. The chimp reaches them first. Somehow Nova gets knocked into the water. The orangutan tries to save her, which is like crazy because this is an orangutan with like crazy amounts of strength, and he can't even pick her up. So it's like, all right, this is dumb. Fighting ensues. Like I said before, Noah sucks, so he loses. Somehow the orangutan gets knocked into the water, and then apes can't swim. No buoyancy and whatnot, and it also leads into a waterfall. So Nova gets saved, orangutan dies, supposed to be emotional. Noah is like sitting on the ground, being pinned down, looking like, oh no, I lost another fight. And it's like, maybe it's because us as humans know how strong they really are, and yeah, he is fighting other apes, but it's like, give me something, man. Whenever you see Caesar not only using his strength but his wits just to fight these guys off, it's all like, okay, well, Noah's supposed to be the clever ape. Do something, man. He just sucks. The character's not likable at all. I cannot stress to you how much this character sucks. I cannot stand this protagonist. So from the fighting, Noah gets captured with Nova. So basically, evil apes win. They get dragged along to main antagonist, Proximus Caesar. He's our new main antagonist. His whole steez. By the way, the actor for him, oh my goodness, his performance was great. He was the best part of this film, full stop. There he is. Thank that actor. He rules. I can't even fully give this guy's accolades because he was the best part of this very bad situation. And once again, I'm probably in the minority here because I've seen nothing but good things about it, but man, I just cannot get behind this film at all. I really do think people forgot about Planet of the Apes completely, and this movie came out and was like, oh snap, a new Planet of the Apes. I didn't watch the other ones, but I'm gonna watch this one, and that's why I think this film did well. It definitely outperformed Furiosa, which like outrages me, but that's a whole nother video coming soon. Proximus Caesar. He had a different name, but he took on the mantle of Proximus Caesar because obviously Caesar is a legend. He's saying, oh yes, I'm the new Caesar. I was a basic ape, but then I turned to Proximus Caesar. I'm awesome. It's a great day. And his whole steez is he's trying to pull down a wall to a old bunker made by humans that has a whole bunch of military tech in it. He doesn't know that, but he knows whatever's behind that wall can extend my life. And that's really what he believes, because he's an older ape. He knows he's gonna die. So like these are delusions of an old man trying to figure out what's behind this wall. So his whole thing is he's enslaving apes to build machinations just to pull down this wall. That being said, Proximus has this knowledge because he has a human captive. A human that is intelligent. He's a older male played by an actor that, we all recognize. I'm gonna just throw him up. Proximus Caesar sees that Noah is intelligent. He adds her to his little human thing with the other man, and the man, he reads Proxima Caesar's books. He reads books to him because Proxima Caesar doesn't know how to read, and he just gives him knowledge, which makes him smarter. Smarter the ape is, the more he can lead the people. The human is trying to convince Nova, like, hey, make yourself useful because it's their world now. And Nova's all like, no, it's not their world. You just sold out. He's not bad in a sense of like he hates humans. He's just a victim of his circumstance. He realizes, okay, well, I'm an old man. I can't do much. These apes can literally just punch me once and I'm gonna die. So this is how I survive. And he's just trying to convince Nova of that. And Nova's all like, no, you just sold out. And yeah, you suck. Eventually, Noah reunites with his mother and his love interest, and I think one of his friends is a servant to Proxima Caesar. They find their way into the vault. Nova guides them in. Right before that, I believe she kills the human, the intelligent man that was feeding Proxima Caesar knowledge. From what I can remember, I don't think he directly threatened to snitch on her, but I think she kind of knew it was going to happen, so she just strangled him. And then Noah and his love interest and his friend, they just watch. They're like, oh, dang, okay, all right, you just killed him. And they just go about their merry way. Noah and his group, they start looking around like, oh man, look at all this human stuff. The human language and writing is very like old, ancient text style, seen as sacred, I guess you could say, because no ape knows how to read. While they're looking around, Nova's just like looking for something certain. You can tell she's got her eyes on something. She eventually finds it's like a hard drive. It's like a quick 5-second clip of her grabbing it. Eagle-eyed viewers will see it and it's all like, oh, why was that so important? And there's a arsenal of guns, and Nova sees it. She grabs one, sticks it away. Once again, it's another 5-second clip. And then as they travel through to get out, they see, oh man, there's a arsenal of weapons in there. There's tanks, M1 Abrams tanks. There's other munitions and whatnot. So I was very dumbfounded at why they did this, but at one point they opened the vault, and I really wondered what did they think was gonna happen, because they opened the vault and it's like they knew Proxima Caesar was trying to get into a door. Nova knew the entrance, and then they just opened up the huge door that Proximus has been chipping at for like years or months. One of the two. Either way, he's been trying to get to this door for a long time. There's apes looking in, and then Proxima Caesar just rushes in like, what? Oh, Noah, man, you are a clever ape, man. Oh, but I see you still got that human. Then he grabs his love interest and like, okay, choose this human or your love interest. And then he's like about to kill her. And then Nova pulls out a gun, shoots. I don't think she hits Proximus, but she hits somebody, and then runs off. Detonates some explosives. It blows up the dam that's keeping all the water from washing into that little shore area, and then it floods the entire facility. So all the apes are like running in. All the apes outside are escaping out, and then all the apes that were already inside the vault are trying to run in just to find safe. Throughout everybody running in, Noah's getting his family. We don't know where Nova is outside just looking at the destruction. Noah is trying to get his mother and his love interest, and I forget what happens to his friend at this point, but as he's running, he gets chased by the gorilla that's been chasing him since the beginning of the film. Remember, it's still being flooded the whole entire time. So this is whenever he finally has like the clever ape moment. The gorilla is just like destroying everything to get to him, and Noah's like not throwing a single punch. He's just trying to just jumping through places. Then he sees an opportunity where, oh, I can fit through here. You can't. He charges at the last moment. Noah jumps out of his small little crawl spot, and then the gorilla's like, oh snap, I can't reach you. Growl, then he drowns, and that's the end of him. Noah reaches safety with other apes that have also survived, and these are people of his tribe as well. He escapes, but it turns out Proximus was within that crowd of apes that escaped, and he starts whooping on Noah. Once again, Noah does not win a single fight in this film. Let me tell you how he wins this one. So he's whooping on him. He's like talking his noise. He's all like, "Before I kick you off this cliff," because they're at the entrance of where Noah and his little group snuck in. He's like, "Before I kick you off this cliff, you're gonna bow to me. So bow to me and say who's your king," or something like that. You can see the eagles throughout the fighting, so it's like instantly I was like, oh yeah, he's gonna use the eagles, because at the very beginning of the film they shown how relevant these eagles were. I didn't even mention these eagles just because it was just such a weak point of the film. It was like, why? But this was ultimately the payoff to the eagles. So they have this like song chant. He's like, whoa, beating on his chest or something like that. And it rallies together the eagles. All of the tribes start singing with them. It rallies the eagles. The eagles start pecking away at Proximus, start tearing at him or whatever. And he's like swinging, can't really hit one of them. He like hits one and it falls down, and they keep attacking him. And then they attack him till he falls off the edge of the cliff. He dies, and then it's all like, hey, Noah won. That was supposed to be his clever ape moment, but it was so weak. It was like why? It was like, why? I'll say this. It could have been done better. I see why, but it just could have been done way better. The only clever ape fight that he won was the one with the gorilla. And, if we could have got more of that, you could have still had him win multiple fights, with him being a clever ape and still, have him be captured just to get to the end game here. But man, it's just the vehicles that you use was just so weak. So yeah, we at this point we reached the end of the film. Noah takes his tribe back to their original spot. They got destroyed. They rebuild, replenish. Nova comes and visits him. There's this unsure like aroma in the air that's like, oh man, you're still an ape, I'm still a human, so like I don't know if we can trust each other. Like Noah's just like, hey bro, look, I don't got no smoke with you. I just kind of want to live. So you cool? And Nova is like, nah, I don't know, Slime. I mean, I don't know. Are we cool? And she's like holding the gun behind her back. And it's kind of like messed up because it's like you're kind of not meant to like the humans in this film at all. Not even Nova. But I can see why, because we're rooting for the apes in this story. It's Planet of the Apes. So the film ends. Noah goes back to his tribe. Nova travels this long way, just to give humans this hard drive that she got from the bunker so they can communicate with other humans. And they finally reach some communication. They start celebrating, and that's like where the film ends. And I guess that's supposed to be the pseudo cliffhanger of like, oh snap, humans have a foothold again, so there's gonna be war. Which is kind of like in my head it's like, okay, why does this film exist then? If humans and apes are just gonna keep warring, you could have ended it whenever they finally got to the promised land, whenever Caesar died. Because if it's just more human and ape infighting, then it's like, what's the point? What's the point at all? It's kind of dumb. I can definitely tell this was supposed to be the beginning of new thing, and I really don't see the point of keeping this film, this trilogy going, just because it's like, it's more of the same. And I purposely stayed away from this video from the Critical Drinker, because I saw the thumbnail and I read the title that said more of the same, and I was like, ooh, let me make sure I don't get any bias from his video. And I mean, his title literally says it all. It's literally just more of the same. So it's like you kind of know what you're getting here, but like it's the weakest entry. You can even see like out of all the new films of what they grossed, it grossed the least. And still, it doubled its budget essentially, but like it's like the film just didn't need to exist. And I guess for the sake of money, yeah, cool. But the film got its budget back and then made, back 100% of whatever it put in. I don't know if that is considered success for films, because they usually want them to overwhelmingly do good, especially since what Marvel has been doing, what Marvel has done, because what Marvel has been doing has been garbage. It really didn't deserve the money that it got, in my opinion. Because whenever I see this film and then I see Furiosa, it's like, how? But, hey, the people pick what they want. So, just some quick comparisons between Noah and Caesar. Caesar's objectively the better character, but then again, we've had him for multiple films. We've only had Noah for one. Seeing Caesar's origin in his first film, from being a baby to growing up and then breaking off on his own, it was like that was an origin done right, especially in the context of Planet of the Apes. Noah's origin was like it felt lazy and generic. So that's why, once again, I was like, why does this film even exist? Caesar is a strong leader. Noah is a weak leader. Caesar is combat effective. Noah has no combat experience, and I understand, once again, Caesar has had time to learn. Noah hasn't, but it's like, you're the cunning ape, bro. Do something. Honestly, this is whenever I have to get into the message. It really did feel like, are we really emasculating apes here? Because Nova in the film, she is, I can't really give her the girl boss mantle, but like, she's winning basically. Like she really only takes one L throughout the film, and that's whenever she gets captured with Noah, and that's really Noah's fault, I would say, just because he sucks so much. And it really made me think, like, wow, are we really emasculating male chimps now? Like I had outlined in Furiosa, it really felt like that was girl boss done right. And like, none of our masculine figures in that movie was like overtly just emasculated for the sake of bringing up a female character. And in this film, that's kind of what it felt like. And not necessarily because that was their objective, but more so it was because Noah just sucked so much. Noah sucked so much in this film, man. I mean, this was the worst protagonist I've seen in so long. Like, he's probably like top 10 worst protagonists of any film. I really do think this really should have just been Nova's movie, because we were being told two stories at once here, and I think in that, right, it did work, but the story's super generic. It's very weak as far as entries. The main thing is, I really don't know where they can go from here. Hopefully, because it's so open-ended, they make something fantastic, because this was just not it. The main thing that they did here, that they accomplished with this film, was the world building of the new era of the Planet of the Apes. That's the only thing that they accomplished. So I already know we're gonna get more. It's just, it's a business at the end of the day. The film grossed enough to make another one, so we're likely to get another one in the next 5 to 10 years. So hopefully, with what they do, it's good, because this film was just not it. So my rating for this film, solid 5 out of 10. It's an average movie. I personally hate it, but I think for the average viewer, if you're not familiar with the Planet of the Apes trilogy of the reboot, yeah, you can watch this. You can watch this and enjoy yourself. If you're familiar with the Planet of the Apes trilogy of the reboot series, and you like this film, please tell me how I'm wrong in my comment section. You could literally grind me to dust at how I'm wrong, because I just saw nothing but faults in this film, and I went in wanting to like it because it's a Planet of the Apes film. Like, as far as I'm concerned, they've all been slamming. That's why I was just so disappointed. Maybe it's because I had my expectations too high, but it's a trilogy entry. My expectation is going to be set by the trilogy. Hey, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please, it takes so long to edit, man. It's crazy. If you don't mind, man, drop a like. Please comment. Even if you did disagree, I would love to hear your criticisms. And hit that subscribe button for your boy. Love you guys. Peace to the Middle East, baby.